Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. Hold on, just let me get prepared to do this. I want to make sure all of us are safe. And if you're watching this, I'm just going to ask you to maintain a 6-foot distance from your screen, please. Just let me get some PPE going here before we go any further with this discussion. Slightly modified mask here. 1 second. Okay, so these masks, we're going to mess up the sound, but I did modify this one slightly, so we should be good to go. And I want to avoid any potential particulate being shared between any of us. So now we should be good and safe. Let me flip this camera around so that I can get into the video and the stuff I want to share with you. But just be aware, we are going to be talking about the fact that, there's a certain crisis happening right now, which shall not be named because it's, forbidden on YouTube. But I do want to talk about some of the things that I think uniquely prepares the knife community for this particular situation. Hold on for a minute and I will flip this guy around and carry on. Okay guys, so we're flipped around and looking the other way now. I am going to keep this PPE on, so please bear with me. Certain viruses that shall not be named can live on steel for longer than other materials. And so, just want to keep everything as safe as we possibly can here. Now, I've got to say, it's true that we're dealing with a bit of a difficult time in the knife community. I mean, we're afraid to meet up for trades or sales. Knife stores are closed to street traffic and only open for internet traffic, which, is only 99% of their customer base anyway. In Canada, only essential services such as the LCBO and car dealerships are allowed to stay open. People are hoarding toilet paper. All right, we have no food, no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off. You guys get the point, right? This is a major catastrophe. But I want to suggest that within the knife community, we may be more well-equipped than anyone else to deal with this particular challenge, because a lot of the things that we already do are going to, prepare us for the challenging days to come. Number one, we have to shelter in place. We have to, stay in our homes. Well, guess what? If you have a knife collection, that's fine. Most of us have anxiety when we think about going to work and being separated from all our knives anyway, every day anyway. So this way, you get to stay home with your knives. You can make sure they're protected. You can sharpen them. You can clean them. You can play with them. You can flip them. It's a perfect opportunity for knife geeks. Now, I will say this. There have been some people suggesting that they're going to stop or take a break from buying knives during this time. And I have to say, that feels wrong-headed to me. I mean, think about this. People are hoarding toilet paper. Why? Because the rolls, now this was a justification I heard, because the rolls are made in China, and those rolls are going to be in short supply. And so we won't be able to get toilet paper, and so we better do it now. Well, guess what? Most knives are made in China. So what we ought to be doing is exactly what we've already been doing, which is hoarding knives. Although perhaps we could make the argument that we should be buying cheap Kershaws, as if they were Spyderco sprint runs. And so our hoarding behavior works out perfectly. The other thing is when stores are not available and open, you have all of these extra knives that plus the ones you've bought and hoarded due to the coming steel or the coming overseas made knife shortage. You can sell those to your friends and family members. You can trade them for toilet paper or hand sanitizer or other things that you may need. So just on that one simple point alone, we're more equipped to deal with the virus than other people would be. Now, there are a couple of other reasons that I want to go over with you. The next one has to do with toilet paper. Everyone's hoarding toilet paper, and I would say if you have a good folding knife, such as this Benchmade Crooked River right here, you are well equipped to deal with the toilet paper shortage. Just hold on while I demonstrate why that is. Okay, so first off, let me get some of this stuff out of the way and remind you that the problem is TP, toilet paper. Well, I have some PT right here, paper towel. If you're a knife guy, and especially if you're into larger knives like I am, guess what? You are fully prepared to turn your PT into TP. And it's as simple as this. Okay, so there you go. We started out with a roll of paper towel, and now we have a roll of toilet paper. The only couple of issues are, one, this may or may not fit on your toilet paper roll. If it doesn't, just do what all guys do anyway when the toilet paper is empty, sit it on the back of the toilet like that. The other problem that we are presented with is the fact that this does not break apart and flush down your toilet properly, and it will wreak havoc on your septic system. That's fine. I've got that one covered too. All you have to do is take this, and once you wipe, throw it directly into the garbage can. Don't worry about flushing it down the toilet. Again, see, being into knives makes us fully equipped for dealing with the challenges associated with our current situation. All right. Now, that's not all. There are many, many other things that we ought to be, that we can do to make us safer, or that we already do, I'm sorry, to make us safer. The next one is, look, it's widely reported, especially in the US, but I have to say, even in Canada to a lesser extent. Let's get the toilet paper out of the way. I'm going to go in a minute and show my wife how ingenious I am by fixing our toilet paper shortage problems. Let's get a couple of knives back in here. By the way, we do have a whole new way of testing knives, and that is how well do they work when you're wearing latex gloves. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you guys, the next thing that I want to talk about is an interesting phenomenon that's been going on. Okay, I've reconfigured the screen a little bit. The next point that I want to make has to do with firearms, such as this dangerous weapon right here. Now, by all accounts, in the US and in Canada, to a lesser extent in Canada because there's just not the availability, but firearms have been flying off the shelf, and a number of gun stores have reported that they're having a hard time keeping 9mm in stock. So one, I didn't know that 9mm was the best caliber for defeating the virus. I would think the smallest caliber possible would be better. Also, if you've ever watched Gun Gripes, what's the YouTube channel? Iraqi Veteran 8888. They love to talk about modifying rounds. And what I think you could do is go to your gun safe, get all of your rounds, and put a little drop of hand sanitizer on the end of each bullet. That way, they're extra lethal against the particular virus that we're dealing with. The other nice thing is that they've done studies to show that the particular virus lasts the shortest amount of time on copper. And so if you're one of those guys that has a fancy EDC, carries a copper flashlight, copper giant mouse, maybe knew about this ahead of time. But if you're into firearms, again, you've got lots of copper around, which is a natural deterrent for our particular problem. All right. So the next thing that I think is interesting. Oh, by the way, there's a great way that I have discovered to keep your hand hygiene on point. Okay. And that is, Washing your hands, keeping them clean is extra important, but it's something that all of us are inclined to forget about. And so to make sure that you're not forgetting about hand hygiene, here's what you should do. Get your most expensive, hard to replace safe queen out of your safe, the one that you wear gloves to handle all the time anyway, and start carrying it. And you'll be so careful about your hand hygiene to make sure that you don't, get oil or any other kind of, you know, dirt or anything else on that knife, that you'll be washing your hands more than even the most germaphobe germophobic person you could think of, all because you've carried that out. The other thing is, and now here's an extremely helpful point here that maybe many of you haven't thought of. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, so here's something you probably haven't thought of. If you're one of those guys that's into larger knives, start carrying something like this, or like this, or better yet, put this guy on your belt. And guess what? People will definitely keep the 6 foot safety distance away from you. And if there's any question about whether or not they're going to, then what I recommend is this strategy. One knife in each hand, hold them out to your side, swing them around randomly, and I guarantee that everyone will keep that social distancing to the exact numbers that they're supposed to. And by the way, that comes from the fact that I know most people have arms which are around 3 feet long. So both arms spread out at your side equals 6 feet. Perfect solution. I also should add here that as we're talking about this, Greg Medford recently pointed out that U.S. makers should stop, or U.S. designers, I guess, should stop using Chinese OEMs, and he'll make all the knives. He'll serve as the OEM for, somebody who wants to bring a new knife to market. And so we ought to get ready for the chamfered. It'll only be $800. Or the other option would be to continue going with the overseas manufacturers and buy some Lysol and hand sanitizer. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the recent story that I saw a friend share on, I believe it was Canadian Knife and Gear. Even if it wasn't there, that's a great site. You should go over and check it out. It's a Facebook group. But someone shared in the community not that long ago that their wife had forbidden them from going and carrying out a knife trade that they had arranged. So I want to take a second here. We're going to leave the table. We're going to go take a look at the proper way to conduct a knife trade during social isolation. So give me 1 second, guys, while I reset up the camera, and then I'm going to have some help to demonstrate that here in 1 moment.
Go.
Okay, guys, just wanted to let you know, I've removed everything because I want to do a demonstration for you, and the demonstration is the right and proper way to conduct a knife trade in 2020. Okay, so let me just tell you, I put together these kits. They will be available on my website for $19.99. If you pay $19.99, I'll throw in a roll of toilet paper. Now, each kit consists of a garbage bag. Now, you may wonder exactly what this is for, but let me just share with you. These kits are made of things that you don't have to go to the store and buy, since we're supposed to be social distancing. But what you can do is put this on like so. Okay, hold on. Luckily, we're talking about being in the knife community, so I do have a knife. Okay, so you put this on. Like this. And you'll also need one for your friend who you're trading with. So we do have two right here. I know your friend probably has a knife as well, but just in case he doesn't. You can do this. And if you're really thoughtful, You could cut an armhole on each side. I forgot to do that in my own, but I'll fix that in 1 second. So here you go, friend. Okay, armhole number 1. Armhole number 2. Okay, so we started to become a little bit safer. Hold on, we're not quite done yet. Next thing is going to be the face. One for you, one for your friend. Again, one for you, one for your friend. Okay, so there we go. We should consider ourselves fully protected. Now there is one last thing that will be included in the kit. And so what we're going to do is I'll have my friend come up here. We'll pretend this is the box containing the knife that we want to trade for. One last step. Hold on. We'll try this one again. There we go. Okay, hold on tight to it. You got it? Okay, there. Now he can safely go back to his car. And we have safely conducted a knife trade during this minor crisis of infectious disease. Okay, guys, let's go back to the tabletop. Okay, guys, so there you have many of the reasons that the knife community is especially equipped to deal with the challenges of our current social distancing situation. The fact is, just because you like knives and collect knives, you have, by that very virtue, prepared a little extra for this very dangerous and difficult situation. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's washing their hands. I want to thank everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and go ahead and check out the links in the description box below. Down there, I'll put a couple of the channel sponsors, and you can go over and check them out, and that does help the channel. All right. Oh, wait a second. I did forget to point out this very important point. That is, we will soon be having high-end titanium bolt-action hand sanitizer dispensers for review on the channel. We'll talk to you soon.